We've got our Sera, which has been running another week in 6090 silicone carbide grit, or stage 1. Ooh, really thick. Look at how nice and thick that slurry is. Now this just had, this is a 4.5 pound barrel, so we had 2 tablespoons of borax and 3 tablespoons of 6090 silicone carbide. And this was running our Sera, our windowed Rhyolite. Woo, look at that. I love adding borax with the barrels as they're tumbling, because the cleanup is just a simple rinse. You don't have any scrubbing of the barrel. It all just comes out. I kind of made a mess. Comes out really easy. And that is a clean out that is so much easier than scrubbing. It's worth the borax. Now I added ceramics to the mix in stage 1, which we don't really like to do because it impedes rounding the corners and, and knocking off the sharp edges and stuff. However, because these were all very uniform in shape, I needed something to get between the stones to keep them from just getting 2 flat sides together and not doing any grinding. So that's why we added the ceramic media to kind of try and help, in the tumble. But I think in the future we're going to use a same Mohs hardness stone, but like the Mukite that I had, I think we'll just add that in because that will give us different sizes of stone. When it's all uniform, it makes the grind slower. Can't wait to take a look at this Sera, or windowed Rhyolite. Do the inspection. I'm really excited about this. Here's our green tree moss agate that's been running for another 8 days. And our silicone carbide stage 1. Nice thick slurry. Super easy cleanup. And this is why we add borax. Super easy cleanup. I don't have to scrub the lids. I don't have to scrub the rims. Everything looks nice and clear. Oh, I'm happy. So this barrel is a 3-pound barrel, and we didn't have enough stone to run another stage 1, so we combined the black onyx and the green moss agate. So we've got both stones in here. Can't wait to do the inspection so we can see what's ready to move forward to stage 2. Alright, let's just clean this out real quick and move on to our next barrel. Our picture Jasper has been running another week in our stage 1 6090 silicone carbide grit. Ooh, look at that. good. Oh, isn't that pretty? Some of you may be wondering why we put ceramic media in stage 1. And the main purpose is when I don't have enough stone to fill the barrel, I will use the 60/90 ceramic media to help fill the barrel to get that 3/4 fill, so we get a really good grind. The secondary reason I put it in is if the stones are all of similar size, I want a different size in there to help move the grid around. Okay, let's finish rinsing these and we'll move on. Okay, we are moving on to our barrels that are in 120-220 silicone carbide grit, and that is stage 2. And here's our ocean jasper. Wow, look at the foam. I love it when it's like that. Oh, I'm going to have to do a little bit clean up on this rim. Not a whole lot. Just a light bit. Yeah. This is in our 1.5 pound barrel, because I didn't want to run anything but the ocean jasper. Okay, we've got our Prairie agate, which has been running 1 week, well actually 8 days, in our stage 2 120-220 silicone carbide grit. Super foamy. Oh, I love that. Awesome. And it had borax, which makes this clean up a dream. Oh, with any luck, I'll never have to scrub a barrel again. Look at that. That is so easy on the cleanup. Look at that. It's beautiful. Mostly ceramic media because we have such a small amount of the Prairie agate to run. And we used the smallest barrel. We used a 1.5 pound barrel. So, gotta do what you gotta do. Get these stones run. Fantastic. Alrighty, we will see these downstairs. Rose Quartz has been running for 8 days in our stage 2 120-220 silicone carbide grit. Whew. Wow. Look at that. I'm so happy to be at stage 2 with this quartz. Ridiculously easy cleanup. No scrubbing lids, rims or barrels. Nothing stuck to the bottom, requiring scrubbing. Super easy. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, look at that pink perfection. Woo. That is some beautiful rose quartz, I tell ya. Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, I can't wait to take it inside and do an inspection. Be right back. Welcome back to Crystal Wellness Studios Rock Tumbling Weekly Adventures. This week in our barrels, we're starting off with our Sera Jasper, which is also known as Window or Galaxy Rhyolite. So, we cleaned out the barrels, and this is what we had. We had some ceramic filler that we used to help fill the barrel because we moved to a 4.5 pound barrel from our 3 pound barrel, and we added more rough from some stores we had because we wanted to get all that we had in one barrel, and we had enough to move up from a 3 pound to a 4.5 pound barrel, but it wasn't quite enough to give it a full run. Meaning that the barrel was just under 3/4 and it wasn't really going to get the rotation that we wanted for the grinding. And with these stones being cut on a tile saw, this is the kind of problem we were going to have. It was going to meet up against the flat sides and not really get the grinding that we wanted. Now we are seeing a lot of improvement on the corners, which is delightful. So that's rounding nicely, but there's still, because we had some fresh rough in the barrel, not all these are ready to move forward, and frankly I'm not going to run any of it forward. We're going to run it one more week in 60-90, and then it should be in pretty good shape. But as we can see here, let's adjust the camera, our 4.5 pound barrel does not have enough stone to run. So we need to do something to keep these from locking up. And what we're going to do is, instead of doing ceramic media, which we did last week, which went in, you know, sizes like this, we did a mix. We did large and small, you know, and this is what happened. We got an awful lot of breakage. And ceramic media, while it's doing its job to fill the barrel, it also is getting crushed to death. And that's not going to really give us any help at all. And it's just an expensive way to fill the barrel. So what I've decided to do instead is use some Mohs Hardness 7 stone. It's always going to run in stage 1. These are chips and tailings of Mookaite, Mohs Hardness 7. The Sera Jasper, Window Rhyolite, whatever you want to call it, is also a Mohs Hardness 7. I suspect it might be closer to a 7.5 or an 8 because it's really hard. But we use these different sizes of stone to help fill the barrel and help move the grit around to do its job of shaping and grinding. And since these are always going to be really small, and I'm not going to really, want to do anything with these, instead of just having them, in the garden or in the junk pile, what I want to do is use them as filler. They can help create volume in the barrel, and they can help move the grit around, and we're going to see how it works. And with the various sizes, it's a lot larger than ceramic media, so we can use less of it. And again, I don't care if these grind down to powder. I don't care what happens to these, this particular barrel. I don't care what happens to it. So this is a good thing to use it for. And for people on a budget, and when you're trying to figure out what are you supposed to do with all these little tailings and things, use them as filler. Why not? So we're going to add some of this to get our 3/4 fill on our 4.5 pound barrel. And then we're going to charge it with 60-90. I'm only going to use 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of borax, because borax helps the suspension of the grit. It keeps it, floating around and doing its job. And it also makes cleanup so much easier. Makes me really happy. that I don't have to scrub barrels. I just have to rinse them. It's such a time saver, and it's such a good feeling to be able just to rinse it out and be done. But I digress. Let's get the barrel filled, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are almost to the point. We can button this up. Sounds like broken glass. I don't want to put any more in there because of the size of the stones. I want to make sure that it has enough room to move around. So let's get our 6090. Oh, that's 120. It's a good thing we check labels around here. 6090 stage 1 silicone carbide grit. Now a lot of the tumbler instructions will tell you to put a tablespoon per barrel size, but that's a waste of grit. I did an experiment last year, a couple years ago, to see how much my Loratone barrels needed. It was like half. So I'm only putting 2 in here. And then I have borax, our lovely Mule Team 20 borax. 1 and 2. It makes a nice thick slurry. Everything's wonderful. Makes me happy. Alright, let's put some water in here. Just a tiny bit more. That's all the water I'm going to put in there. Just roughly to the top, well, not top, roughly to the bottom of the top layer of stone. Okay, this is ready to go on the tumbler, and we will see this next week. Yay! Okay, Sera, Sera. And we're back with our black Onyx, which has been running yet another week in our 6090 silicone carbide grit. We ran it in a 3-pound barrel this week with the green agate, green tree moss agate, so that we could fill the barrel. But let's take a look now. It's starting to dry off from our rinse. We want to see what condition these stones are in. They feel really smooth. The corners are nice and rounded. There's still a little bit of things like this, which is just a little bit of deep pitting that is not going to go away without a substantial loss of stone. So I think we're just going to clean it really well and let it move to 120. I'm fairly certain, oh, that's beautiful. All of this black onyx is going to move forward. Oh, see, now that's catching grit. I'm going to clean that out really well before the grit turns to cement. Let's dry it off so we can take a look. Yeah, that is a grit catcher. Ugh. I don't like those pits. It's going to cause grit to catch if it's not cleaned out really super well. Oh, that's green agate. Okay. Just a little, I don't know. I hate to say one more week, one more week, one more week. I kind of want this stuff to move forward, and I think I might just be overly picky. But this is why. You see that little mark in there? It's catching grit. And if that moves on to the next stage, it contaminates it, and then it could ruin everything. Still have a little in there. I wonder if like an ultrasonic cleaner would get that out. See, if I rush this, I'm going to be sorry in the end. I mean, they look beautiful wet. And it gives us an indication of what the shine's going to be like. At the same time, fingers are damp. All of these have got just a little bit of grit contamination still in them. So this is undercutting, this is pitting, and that's just going to keep happening over and over again. I don't know, it's pretty split. All of these, every single piece has these pits and divots. Well, they're not divots, they're just pits. I don't know, give them a really good clean and move them to 120. Because 120 is just going to get rid of these little fine micro scratches. It's not going to shape it anymore. And it's not going to grind those things out. But, you know, I'm just done with black onyx. I'm going to just clean it really, really well. Put it in a burnish cycle. I'm going to clean it by hand with a toothbrush, and then I'm going to put them in a burnish cycle. And then I'm going to move them to 120 because I'm done with black onyx. And we're back with green tree moss agate, which has dried out a little bit while we've been doing these inspections. So let's just re-wet it. Ooh, that feels very rough to the touch. Let's see what's going on with this stone. Ooh. See how that pitting? It's going to need more time. See all these little micro scratches? Right up in here. 120 will take care of all that. It's a little bit finer grit, and it will smooth the surface even better. But the stone itself is looking okay. There's a little bit of pitting there. Wow, I love it. The patterns are really coming out now. Why is it every stone has just a tiny imperfection? Wow, that feels delightful. That is so smooth. And then it's got this little rough spot on it. I don't know if anything's really truly ready to move on if we're being a perfectionist. Yeah, that needs more work. This was not the best condition rough when we got it. So I wasn't holding out a whole lot of hope for what the stones turn out to be. That had a little piece of ceramic media stuck in it. And that's why we want those pits ground down. Wow. Oops. They're slippery little suckers. Look at that. I don't know. I think we can pull a couple of these for 120, but on the whole, this is going to run another batch of 60-90. There's just enough going on here that we want to give it one more week. At this stage, why rush it? Alright, we'll be right back with our next barrel. And we're back with our picture Jasper, which has just finished its second week in 60-90 stage 1 silicone carbide grit. Now let's take a look at how these little beauties are running, and hopefully we'll be able to move them on. Oh, wow, they feel so smooth. I love running Jaspers. For a beginner, these are the best stones to run, are Jaspers and Agates, because they're so hard that it takes a lot to really damage them. So you have a lot of leeway. Wow, these are lovely. Sharp edges are gone. Not feeling any pitting. Cool patterns. Well, those are divots, but they're not catching grit. Oh my gosh, I think that these might be ready to go to stage 2 after a wash cycle. Look at this. This is awesome. I love to see stones that, do what I want them to do and don't take months and months and months in stage 1. Oh, these are lovely. I am super excited. Now this feels a little pitted and rough, so that one I'm going to hold back. Up. Let's make sure that it's not grit. Oh, it may have been grit. Okay. I think we'll hold that one back. These are drying pretty quickly as we do our inspection here. But it's easier to see the flaws when they're dry. Oh, wow. These just feel so good. Oh, let's get a focus on that. There we go. I'm going to run that one more week. Now that one is just a natural divot in the stone. That's never going to grind out. That has a little bit of sharpness to it. Alright, where'd my focus go? Here we are. I don't know, I think since we've got a couple stones that are going to run 60-90, I wouldn't mind running that one again. I just love the patterns on this Jasper. It's so pretty. Oh, wow. Holy cow. This stuff is amazing. I'm so happy with it. There's a couple spots on that. Wow. Look at that. That's just lovely. Ooh, 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 ooh. So pretty. Just a little bit on that end. Wow, this is just fantastic. I'd say we're about half and half. Half the batch is ready to move to 120 and half is going to benefit from one more week in 60/90. I take a lot of time in 60/90 so that we get the best possible shine outcomes at the end. If you rush it in the first stage, you're going to regret it in every stage that follows. That's just a tried and true, hard-learned fact. Oh, that doesn't feel as smooth as it could. Alright, so these are ready to move to 120. And these over here are going to go one more round in 60/90. Okay, let's see what we can find. I think I have some more Jasper that I could run a full 60/90 barrel for. I'd like to hold these until I have more to run in 120. So the 120s are going to go in a little baggie, and they're going to go on the wall to wait for a 120 barrel. And these little beauties are going to run one more week, and I'm going to find some more stuff to put in the barrel to fill it. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, I had 4 more pieces of rough picture Jasper. And as you can see, this is barely filling our 3-pound barrel. So I'm going to throw this in here to have it catch up with it. And then I've got some small Mexican lace agate. And we've run agate before, but we're going to use this as filler to fill the barrel. And just run some of these really small pieces because it's beautiful. Holy cow. Alright, that's about 3/4 full. Maybe just a tad under. But I don't want to overfill it. Okay. Let's add our borax. I'm only going to put 1 tablespoon in it this time. And then I want to add our 60/90 silicone carbide. And like 1.5. Okay, put that away. Get some water. Maybe just a tad more. Okay, we will put this on the tumbler and we'll see the progress on this next week. Picture Jasper, ready for another week. Moving on to our barrels that are in our medium stage, 120, 220 silicone carbide grit. We've got 3 this week. This one is our Prairie agate. It's been running in a 1.5 pound barrel. And oh boy, does it feel beautiful. It is so much smoother than when it was in 6090. It's amazing how every progressive stage that we do, the stone gets smoother and smoother and smoother. It's even getting a little bit of a matte shine on it. It's a little rough on that end. These are not the best quality stone. Sad to say, but then they are getting so tiny. So tiny. So the purpose of our medium stage, the 120-220 silicone carbide, is to remove the scratches that the 6090 has left on the surface, because at this point all the shaping that we want done is done. All the pits that we were going to work out, everything is done in stage 1. Now in stage 2, it's a much shorter stage. Most people only run it for 1 week. Rarely will you run it for a second week. It is just to help start preparing the surface to take polish. So this gets rid of any, oh gosh, that's just so pretty. It gets rid of fine lines, or scratch marks, fine line scratch marks that the 6090 grit would have left when it was doing its shaping. Ooh, I'm a little concerned about this tip. Oh, and look at that, and I was able to break it off with my fingernail. Had this gone into a polish stage, it would have ruined an entire batch. And now it's left a rough spot on here, so it needs to go back to 6090 to smooth that out. Yeah, I think that this can get a nice wash cycle and go to 500s to the aluminum oxide pre-polish stages. Not a lot of stone here. A lot of it ended up in the garden stones because it was just really bad rough. And then these 3 pieces need to go back into another run of 6090 for some more repair. So we're going to set these ones aside. We're going to put these in for a wash cycle. And because there's not a lot of stone in here, and I don't want these to get banged up and bruised, I'm going to find some more stone that I'm waiting to run a medium batch on. Because, I mean, look at that. That doesn't really even cover the bottom of the barrel. Let's move this camera. You see how that doesn't even really cover the bottom of the barrel. Yikes. And this is only our 1.5 pound barrel. This is the smallest barrel there is. So I can either do one of 2 things. Find more stone of the same hardness that's ready to do a catch-up in medium, or I can hold this until I have enough stone to run a barrel. And that happens sometimes when you're running batches. When you split them down, you have to put them aside for the rest of the stone to catch up. Or sometimes there's just not enough and you'll have to combine barrels with other stone. So I'm going to take a look around, see what we're going to do. Yeah, but this is ready for 500 and I'm going to need more stone that's ready for 500. So it's going to need a couple wash cycles before it can move forward. And then these 3 stones, like I said, is going to go back into 6090, go back to stage 1 to work out some things that were not quite ready. Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back with our Ocean Jasper that's been running in for 1 week in medium, 120-220 silicone carbide grit. We ran it in a 1.5 pound barrel. And as you can see, we put ceramic media in here to help cushion the stone. and fill the barrel. I'm going to set all that aside. Take a look at the stones. Alright, we have all the stone and ceramic media separated. We are going to need a piece of paper towel to dry some of these stones, so we can take a good look at them, see what's ready to move to 500. Okay, there we go. Wow, does that feel smooth? Even those pits feel smooth. We have discussed ad nauseum. The condition of this rough was abhorrent. Lots of pits. But boy, it's coming through nice now. So it ran 8 days in medium. So there's still that pitting that I'd like to remove. Looks like there's a little grit in there. I need my 120 toothbrush to clean that. Here's my 120, 220 toothbrush. Some fresh water. See if we got that grit out. Alright, let's see what we've got here. I mean, it's feeling really smooth other than the pits. At this juncture, I just want to make sure, like these druzy pockets and everything, that there's no grit left in them. I think it's ready to move on to 500. I don't think it's going to need any more time. Problem with druzy pockets is getting all the grit out of it. Seeing grit come out per se, so it might just be the crystal from the druzy. I would have left this in 60-90 for a year, but it wouldn't really make any difference on this particular batch. We're feeling pretty darn smooth. I don't really think it's going to benefit from another week in 120. So these are going to get several wash cycles. They're going to be washed by hand, or scrubbed by hand with a toothbrush, and then they're going to go in a borax and Dreft baby detergent wash cycles until the water runs clear, and then we will put it in 500 with fresh ceramics to cushion the stone so there won't be any bruising. Wow, look at the pattern on that. That's dry. Mostly. Whew. Lovely. These would have been beautiful if it wouldn't have been for all the pits. But in the future, when I order rough... Ooh, that's black onyx. I don't know how that got in here. I think in the future, when I order online and I get a bad batch that arrive, I'm just going to see about returning it instead of keeping it. Why be saddled with something you know you're not going to be happy with, no matter how hard you work on it? And I'm not up to a challenge that could take, years and different equipment. Years is an exaggeration. But months, to tumble out with really bad rough. Like, you have to use a tile saw, you got to use a Dremel tool, you got to use a flat lap. That's a lot, or a cab machine or something that where you could, you know, get all these little marks out and drill down on these little pivot marks and deep druzy pockets. And I don't want to work that hard for rock tumbling. I want to rock tumble. You know, if I wanted to get into, you know, a really expensive cab machine, that would be a whole different hobby. That wouldn't be rock tumbling anymore. So I kind of like to show what we are dealing with, you know, just as general public. You know, what kind of stuff do we have to look forward to, and how do we work through these issues, you know, without going to all the expense of extra machinery. So we either learn to live with it, send it back, dump it in the garden and forget about it. I don't know. We got a lot of choices, don't we? Okay, we are done with our ocean jasper for this week. We're going to put it through the wash cycles and then put it in 500 aluminum oxide in the vibratory tumbler. Okay, we'll be back. Oh, we're back with our last barrel and my favorite one of this week. It is in a medium silicone carbide 120-220. And it's been running for 9 days, and I'm so excited to look at it. We've had a long, long journey with this rose quartz. Oh, look at this. It is super smooth to the touch. Oh, really pretty. Look at this piece, it's so big. And that's part of the problem that we learned our lesson. The really large pieces of stone, while we can tumble it and run it, we have to realize that it's going to damage smaller stones because of the weight banging on it in the barrel. So we need to cushion it well. Ooh, wow. I am so excited. This is absolutely ready to go to 500. I don't think any of this is going to require a second week. That's super smooth, but it looks really rough. Let's get it wet. Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah, I don't think it's going to benefit from a second week. In 120, I think it's definitely ready to move on. Oh my goodness, look at the pink on this. Holy cow. Now this is going to go through several wash cycles to make sure that it's just absolutely perfect condition to go to the vibratory tumbler, which would be our 500 aluminum oxide grit. I don't know, can you call it grit or is it pre-polish? Semantics. Oh, I'm just so happy with this, and these pinks are so pink. I don't think the camera is really doing it justice for how pink these really are. It's almost bubblegum pink. Now these are a lighter pink, these small stones, but the big ones are deep pink. Ooh. Yeah, they feel so smooth. Oh, yep, definitely. We are good to go. Several wash cycles, which I'm going to put in this 3-pound barrel 1 teaspoon of draft and 1 teaspoon of borax in water, and then just run it for an hour. Rinse it, you know, and repeat until the water runs clearish. Be surprised how dark it runs. Because it cleans the barrel, it cleans the ceramic media that I'm going to be cushioning with it. You know, everything. And then this will go to the vibratory tumbler. Probably late this evening. It's probably about 3 or 4 hours worth of wash cycles. And then it'll be ready to move forward. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, super fast with the rose quartz today. I'm so happy that we took all that time and all, you know, I mean, it was a couple of months, if not 4 months in stage 1 to get all the rose quartz pieces to the point that they could combine them all to run enough for a barrel for medium. So I'm excited. I'm really happy to see the progress on this. There's no bruising, so fingers crossed it won't bruise in the vibratory tumbler either. And we're going to start some new projects then. We're going to have a whole lot of barrels that opened up for this week. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, I've gone through some of my stock, and I wanted to see what we want to run next. And I've got some fancy Jasper, which are pretty big pieces. And then I've got this bag of green Jasper. So I kind of think I'm going to do the green Jasper. There's more of it. Let's take a look at this. They claim this is 2 pounds of green Jasper. Whew. It's kind of translucent on some of these pieces. Let's get it wet and see what it looks like wet. Wow. Such a difference. Look at these pieces. It's really interesting. Some different colors in there. It's got a little bit of a translucence to it. Oh, how cool. Alright, yeah, I think this is going to be our next new project, is we're going to run some green Jasper. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh yeah. Wow. That is really, really neat. I'm used to Jaspers being opaque, so I'm kind of curious as to why they call this green Jasper. And we're gonna, oh gosh, it's kind of muddy. The rough looks like it's in pretty good shape. It doesn't look like there's a super amount of pitting to it. Got some nice variation in the shapes and sizes. That looks like green tree moss agate. I wonder if this green Jasper has been mislabeled. Wow, that's a pretty great druzy pocket. Look at that. Whew. We might keep this one just as it is, just to see the prettiness of it. Yeah, we're going to pull that out. I wonder if sometimes rocks get mixed up at the vendors. You know, like it just pops over into the wrong piece. They just pick it up. They don't really take the time to see exactly what it is. This one's kind of rough. I think this stuff is mislabeled. Especially because it's on the translucent side. So that looks so agate. The green Jasper is what the vendor said it was. They're wrong. Yeah, because there's quartz in there. I bet you this is more moss agate. Huh. Let's see. Let's take this. Take some of the stone. You see, this is what I'm talking about with the translucence. So you can see the light through all this. Through the edges. I don't really think it's Jasper. I think it's mislabeled. So mystery greenstone. Let's run a mystery greenstone and see what we get. Okay, let's put this in our 3-pound barrel with 6090 silicone carbide grit. And then we're going to want to put some borax in here for easy cleanup. Alright, let's get rid of the stones that are going to be pitted. Let's just make sure we're putting good quality stuff in here to start with. Probably should have checked it first. See, there's a lot of host rock on this one. I don't want to grind that down forever. Let's switch it out. Yeah. Let's see how many more pieces do we want to put in there. Want good tumbling pieces. That's a little one. Let's get some little ones in there. I'm kind of excited about this. Let's see how fast that comes off. That just might be dirt. It's pretty rough. I'm going to leave that out. Alright. Oh, I'm kind of excited to see what this stone does. Okay. Mystery greenstone, because I don't believe it's a Jasper. Okay. We'll see this next week. Alright. Another new project. We've got this rough that came from Hypnotic Gems online. Not sure what this is or if it's going to turn out the way we want, but they're calling it Script Jasper. Super muddy. Here's more Script Jasper in the same place. Like to try out different vendors and kind of see who's being honest about what they're selling. Yikes. Super, super muddy. Oh, this is what it looks like dry. Are you ready for the reveal when it's turned wet? Look at that pop! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, look at the mud. Okay, we're going to be right back really quick after I rinse it. Okay, we're back. Not quite so muddy as when I first tried to wet it down. So, Script Jasper, also known as Calligraphy Jasper. We're going to find out some more information about it. Supposedly a Mohs hardness 7. I have heard rumor that it is a lot softer. So we are going to get this barrel started. It's a 3-pound barrel. We're going to see what happens when we try and run some Script Jasper. Yikes. Don't think all of this is going to fit in here. Trying to get the smaller ones in. Okay, this is all I'm going to put in the barrel. It's going to get a lot of banging around. It's going to reduce size a lot. And then we'll have some pieces to throw in next week to help fill the barrel from our loss. Ooh, I'm really excited to see how this works out. This is a bit of a, I'm going to call it an intermediate tumble. It's not like regular Jaspers where it's harder. This is going to be a little bit more babysitting that's going to be required to get what the end result that we want. So I'm excited. New projects. I love new projects, and I've been kind of really anxious to get started on something that was a little more advanced than just Jaspers and agates. Okay, let's put 6090 silicone carbide in here. I'm going to put 1.5 tablespoons because I think it's going to shrink down to nothing. And then we're going to put 1 teaspoon of baking soda to help prevent any organic gases so the barrel doesn't burp open. And then I want to put 1 tablespoon of borax in here to help with everything, with the cleanup, with the grit suspension, to help, you know, work everything out and get a really nice thick slurry. So I'm really excited to see what happens with this next week. Okay, moving on to our next project. Our next product that we're going to try is also from Hypnotic Gems online vendor, and this is Topaz. In our 1.5 pound barrel, so this is 1 pound of Topaz. Ooh, look at that, isn't that pretty? Wish I had more of it. This is a Mohs hardness 7 stone, 7.5. So we are going to go rinse this off and get the barrel charged, and then we're going to start this. So that's our 3rd new project for this week, and we're going to see if Hypnotic Gems is worth buying from. Okay, we'll be right back. All right. We've got our baking soda and borax and our silicone carbide, and we've got the water is just below the top layer of rock. And as you can see, this is not a whole lot in this barrel, but I don't want to add any ceramics or any filler because I want to get the most grindage we can on this Topaz. So we're going to see what an under full barrel will do. All right, we'll see it next week. Our last new project for this week is going to be Lepidolite. Lepidolite. We've got from Gems by Mail. They have it in these 1 pound bags, and they're pretty nice sized chunks, but it's a softer stone, so it's going to be a little bit of a more advanced tumble. So we've got our 3 pound barrel. Let's just put this in here and see how much more we can run. This is pretty soft. I can feel it being rather soft as we go through here. It's kind of interesting to see if any of this is going to survive a solid week. Let's see here. It's pretty large. Let's just let these go through like this. See what we get, and then we'll have some more rough we can add to the barrel next week. How exciting. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of borax, and 1.5 tablespoons of 6090 silicone carbide grit, and we're going to let it run a week, and we're going to see if there's anything left. It's pretty soft, so I think a week is probably an overshot, but it's an experiment. Let's find out. Okay, I'm so excited. We'll see you guys next week. We're back for a quick update. I did a Google search on this Mohs hardness for the stone, and it's a 2.5 to 4. So running this for 7 days would be suicide. I'm going to run this for 4 days and then check it, and even that might be too long, but I think 7 would be detrimental. So we'll run this for 1 week. I've got everything in here. No, not a week. 4 days. It's already like 3:30 in the afternoon today, so it's really going to be like 3.5 days. Oh, I'm so excited to run something new. This is definitely an advanced tumble. So fingers crossed, everything's going to work out. See it in 4 days.